Hi, I'm Mary Harding at maryhardingjewelry.com, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to fire beads in a Raku process. We'll be using a small jewelry kiln, which is my Paragon S3C3, which is a little bigger than the usual PMC kiln. It's about 8 inches inside, as opposed to 6, and it's 8 inches deep. It can fire to 1700 degrees safely with the window, which is what I do. I will be hanging my beads on these specially designed bead racks that I learned how to make from an article by Sue Key Wilcox in Lapidary Journal. You can see the beads are hung on with wire, and they're separated so that the glaze won't stick to them. And then they have a easy to reach part in the front that I grab, and it's easier to get it out of the kiln that way. Over here's another example of one of these racks with the beads on it. You can see how they work. I prepare the racks ahead of time, at least a couple of them, so that I don't have to wait around, and then so that the second firing goes quickly after the first one. I also have a pair of vice grips, which I use to take the beads out of the kiln with. They're long enough when I'm wearing the special gloves so that I don't get hurt by the fire. I don't feel the heat. These are special heat-proof gloves. They're not totally, you can't really count on not getting hurt by them, but they're okay for the way I do it. I'll also be using a kiln shelf, and under the kiln shelf I'm using these small little spacers to keep it off the floor a bit. Once they come out of the kiln and have been put in water, I wash the beads with Ajax or Comet to get the grit off and to help bring out the colors in the glaze. This wire that I use for the bead racks is a steel wire, 19 gauge, holds up well in the firing. When you're finished, you just cut it off and throw it away. It's very cheap, a couple dollars maybe for 50 feet, so you can see it's a good choice for Raku. I do the reduction in a popcorn can. Good idea is to buy these. You can buy these after Christmas on sale. And then I have a can of water for afterwards to put the beads in, to bring out the color. And I have a can of sawdust over here, which I like to throw in some sawdust as I'm going along, right after they're in the reduction chamber. You can see in here that we have straw in the reduction chamber. Good idea. In the reduction chamber, I have underneath the straw a layer of sand to help with absorbing the shock of change in temperature. Here's a look inside the kiln. You can see it's just a simple kiln. And we'll be putting in the shelving now, so you can see how that's done. This is just to keep it off the floor a bit. I always use a little kiln shelf with some kiln wash on it just in case there's a problem. Then put the bead rack on top like this, making sure At this point, you make sure you don't ever want to have the kiln on when you're loading it or unloading it because of the possibility of electric shock. And there's a little sensor in the back there. You want to be sure that you're not touching that when you're firing or loading the kiln. So that's basically what the kiln looks like when it's loaded with one of these little racks. I'm going to close the door now. I'll be plugging in the plug. I'm using an extra heavy-duty electrical extension cord because it doesn't reach to the inside. Then I'll be putting my kiln on. It's programmed to climb steadily up to 1700 degrees and hold for about 5 or 10 minutes at 1700 degrees. The glazes I'll be using today, some of them are from Laguna Clay and some of them are from Whole Lotta Whimsy. Tanya Davidson has an excellent tutorial on her website which inspired me to try this kiln for Raku. Now the kiln is heating up. It's at 116 degrees and it will take approximately 1 hour. The clay I'm using for this first load is a terracotta Raku clay that has quite a bit of sand or grog in it. This will be my first time with this clay. I usually like to use a white clay or a porcelain clay. So while this load is heating, I will be demonstrating how I put the beads on the rack. And some of these beads will be porcelain beads. Some I'm going to just put on so that they will become black afterwards because I would like to have some black beads to work with. Alright, now I'm going to be demonstrating how I put the beads on this little bead rack, which I told you before is something I learned from Sue Key Wilson. So I'm going to be, first I'm going to be doing these are probably porcelain beads with a glaze. Not sure what color glaze that is. I'll bet it's turquoise. But in any case, the idea is to put a little crimp in the wire so that the bead doesn't touch the next bead that comes along that has glaze on it. So put this one on and keep doing that all along. And once I get these on, I'm going to string on a bunch of bisque beads, and because I'd like them just to be black, and that's what will happen in the reduction firing. They'll turn a beautiful shade of black, very dark black. Porcelain is great for that because it's such a white clay to start with. You pull these out enough so that you're sure they're not touching. Now I'm going to put on some of the white beads just to get they're easy to put on. You just stick them on one right after another, and there's a little bit of stain in the bottom of this one, but that won't be a problem. And just keep putting them on like that. Let them run down like this, and then I'll be bending that wire again. It can be sticking out a ways, but it can't stick out too far because it will hit the door of the kiln, but this should work fine. I can put a few more on. So that's basically how you string on beads onto this wire, this metal brace. And then get quite a few beads on. I think it's a pretty good way of doing Raku because all the other methods seem to just do a few beads at a time. And I have this special piece on the front here so that when you go to pick it out at the kiln, it's easy to grab this. It doesn't affect the other beads. And then pretty soon these will be coming out of the kiln, and that'll be all we'll see for right now until they come out.